Got a new project today, and all started when I made this. It has no function, it's ugly, and I'm a little bit hooked. So let's get moving, and I just realized I don't have an intro graphic for this, so here's a picture of a squirrel. Or a bird. It's whatever animal I could get a picture of. This was my first attempt at welding, and it ain't pretty. I'm teaching myself. So yeah, that all came about because I was getting some rattling from the Mustang, and it was a piece of steel between the two exhaust pipes just after the catalytic converter that had sheared and was just clanging against itself. That was annoying. That's fixed now. Yay! But now, moving on to another project that is gonna rely on every skill that I halfway learned from this. As you can see, there's lots of splatter. On one side, I actually attempted to grind. It worked out pretty well. But again, I'm pretty new at this, so maybe I will learn more about this skill as I go. I've been around to the hardware store, I got some tools, and maybe I'll be okay. I did buy some gloves though. These might have been unnecessary, I don't know. But they're sitting on a C-stand because that's how I pull focus now. Now, assuming you're not a total cheapskate, if you've ever been out to a restaurant, like an actual restaurant, not a fast food place, you've probably seen one of these. Probably with a different logo on it. I didn't realize it was still on there. This is the place I used to work. Like, I don't work there anymore. It's still a good place. Check it out. But you probably see one of these when time came to pay the check. There's little pockets there. You know, they'll have their check right there. You can stick your card there. And then your server picks it up, runs your card, brings it back. You tip them appropriately. And you're on your merry way. Well, the thing is, we've had a bit of a crisis when it came to these. See, there was no way to keep them organized. They were just kind of in a pile, and it would scatter. So I grabbed some cardboard and made this little prototype. Cardboard is great for prototypes, especially when you think you're going to be dealing with steel. So what we've got here, when my tape stays in place, this is prototype, remember, what we've got is one main section down here, and then we've got 3 uprights. That is hopefully, and I've spaced these out, so we've got some wiggle room when you're rushing to grab these. You know, you don't want to be snagging, so we're gonna have a loose fit there. Then on the back, we've got these little V sections. These are meant to keep our checkbooks from going too far back. And then, not pictured here, on the bottom I'm going to get some angle iron or angle steel and have a little lip so it doesn't get pushed away from the shelf. So with all that in mind, it should be a relatively straightforward process. It's going to be mostly me developing a technique, and will be interesting because my cutting tool, which is also the angle grinder, runs on batteries. And I only have 2 batteries. This will be, man. We're gonna paint it too. Yeah, it's gonna be a cool color, I think. Right, I've broken up my prototype into its individual parts and laid everything out. I wasn't working with exact measurements when I was building this. I was at the bar at the time. Yeah, it was a slow day, whatever. But now I've laid everything out and I've gotten precise measurements about how big everything should be. I'm hoping everything fits. I can grind things back down if I have to. But now we come to the montage of me just cutting stuff. This is gonna be fun when I have battery power. Like I said, it's over there. There's only so long this thing can last on one charge. That's our back piece. That took longer than expected. But we've got enough to do a little mock-up if I had enough magnets. We will get these little guys here, stick them there. If you're visible up from the camera, I can't tell. It's a little itty bitty viewfinder way over there. So I'm using my fastest lens because it's getting dark out. And then this big light behind me it only works one direction. If you're wondering what everything's sitting on, these are Eddie's old summer tires that I just haven't bothered to get rid of yet. They were well used. I'll say that. We got some brand new summers on Eddie now. That said, that will do it for me today on this video. I'm currently editing when I was on vacation back in September. I'm going to put the sway bar in Eddie. That was an interesting... I don't need to tell you. You've already seen it. That came out already by now, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't have a plan. I really look like a guy with a plan? No. So, as much of a plan as I can come up with, I'll get back to this another day. Haven't decided which. Well, it's been about a week and you didn't notice. I don't know that I noticed. I can't even remember what shirt I was wearing last time. But it doesn't feel like a week. That's besides the point. Came back and I've brainstormed a little bit. We're going to take our front top corners of these, I'm going to round them off. Just so people aren't jamming their hands on it. That should be nice and helpful. Safety, you know, gotta nerf it. We'll also do some to the back, to the rears a little bit. That shouldn't take long at all. As a matter of fact, it'll be a quick montage, like this. And then on any outside edges, let's sand them down. That's going to be as simple as put them in a vise and rub some sandpaper over them. And then we can get to welding. And once everything's secure, I'll bring it into the bar, we'll test fit it, and then if I have to cut, I have to cut. All right, those outside corners are sanded. I have gone down the center here with a wire wheel, so we have some nice adhesion. Same thing happened here. And just gonna line it up along this line I've made, hoping that it's straight, roughly. And then we'll put a magnet in place, maybe 2 magnets. As I explained earlier, my welding experience is pretty much nothing. Anything I know I've acquired through a lot of research online, and I'm not even 100% sure it's all correct. So moving forward, we'll start with our tack welds on each end, maybe one in the middle. Then we'll fill them with little sections here and there, just so we don't concentrate the heat too much in one spot. Is it a pretty weld? No. No, it was quite ugly. I was actually burning through in some spots. After I die grind it and give it a little wire wheel, it still looks rough. But soldier on, take our back piece, stick it on there. I'm gonna weld it like that. Hope it works. One thing I didn't think into the equation is how much this steel would warp. Temperatures are fun, so I might need hammering later. So what I'm left with after this round also ain't pretty. Yeah, it's just, I'm learning. But I think I got some good beads going on this seam. This is still hot. Top though, it's a bit of a mess. But that's what the wire wheel is for, which I put all the way over there. This is why I should have scripts, but I probably never will. And this, I'm just gonna have a little bit of footage of each because, you know, this is rinse and repeat and hopefully I get better. I have had an idea though. I think for these corners that are, let's be honest, rough, the ones I can't grind, specifically the inside corners, like down here, I'm thinking body filler. If I treat this like the surface of a car, just get some body filler in there, shoot, nice and even. Maybe that'll clean it up. Make it easier to clean at the very least. You know, you won't have any crevices where, you know, dirt and bacteria can hide. If we have nice smooth surfaces, much easier for the bar staff to clean. I think that would do it for today. We have a contiguous piece. Not as fast as I probably could have had it done, but you know, I'm all right with it. So figure tomorrow I'll bring it by the bar where I no longer work, do a little test fit, and then just polish it up. Some fine tuning, then some Bondo to fill the gaps like these welds here that are real messy. I feel like I was starting to get good towards the end. So if I keep it up, if I find more projects, I dare say I could become competent. Who knows? Well, it's been long enough that I don't remember what I said at the close of the last segment, so we'll just have to deal. I'm getting a little bit of resonance off this. It's kind of cool. Something I did do off camera. It's been some time. Like I said, I'm rambling. One thing I did add is this bit on the front. See, just a little piece of angle steel. And that, when you put it on a counter or a shelf, will stop it from sliding backwards. I'm counting on that. I can't imagine many forces trying to slide this thing forward. So this should sit in place nicely. One thing did happen though, during the process of welding, is the steel did warp. Yeah, so that's, but you know, the front's pretty good. The back though is, yeah. I've also learned that a wire wheel isn't really the best for smoothing out your welds, especially when they look as rough as mine. So got a sanding flap disc. That came in very handy. I've got it it's over here. Yeah, this guy. It's got basically little flaps of sandpaper, and that works really damn well. But anyway, so we've still got some messiness. I've cleaned up best I could. We're gonna get a quick alcohol wipe on here, get all the dust off, because grinding and welding, that does create metal dust. Sometimes it gets in your nose and you sneeze black stuff. Fun. So we'll get it all clean, and then I'll think back to when I painted the car, which you can get a link to that right there, and use some body filler. I still got a whole bucket of that. All right, so the bucket's all mixed up. We're gonna start filling in the gaps on the outside, I think, because there are some holes. Particularly here, right on the corner, where I just welded through. It's too much heat. I don't have a lot of control over this welder, and also I'm not experienced. So, putting some Bondo on the outside first, we let that set, and then we'll just flip it over. We'll get the insides then, and hopefully that looks good enough to paint. All right, so the setting time for Bondo is rather time critical, so I'm gonna do this in one shot, but there will be a bunch of jump cuts. I do apologize to myself, because I hate the jump cut. The jump cut is just a sign that you haven't got enough footage. Don't use the jump cut unless you can motivate it. Can you motivate your jump cuts? This is a big blob for such a small thing. Can you motivate your jump cuts? Tell me why you did a jump cut. I'll wait. I won't wait long because I still got to, whoa, okay, this is important. I gotta knead this. Gotta mix this guy up because it separates as well. Probably too much, but hey, this ain't going on a car. I hate what has become of the YouTube community. What it is a couple of talking heads who can't read a script, can't write a script, and then they fear losing the audience's attention, so they have to string all their words as closely together as possible. Whoa. And then when they cut it together, they think, oh no, that's silence. Silence is bad. Silence is a void. Silence means people aren't listening to me. Come on, there we go. All right, this should be good enough color. All right, bring this boy in. This is a lot. Damn it. Okay, just a little bit at a time. This stuff is meant for putting on body panels. Body panels tend to be rather flat. You know what? I'm just gonna like slather it on because this stuff can always be sanded off. It looks disgusting. But we've got other corners to do, so, and not much time to do it. All right, pop it on. We'll just kind of smear it. Kind of. That one doesn't look too bad. Cool. Next one. Go in for gaps. Oh, stuff is getting stringy, so I think I'm getting to the end of this batch. Oh, this was a big glob. Shite! This is hardening. Okay. Going with fingers. Alright. Probably should have gone with fingers in the first place. And this way I'll be able to push it into the cracks. This is the slightly wasteful process because look at everything I haven't used. It's unavoidable. I just haven't figured it. It's done. It's gone too hard. Yeah, it's gone. So we'll let this set and come back. Take a long time for this stuff to set, relatively quick, but at the end you're kind of left with these messes. Whatever. So now time to sand this down, make it a little smoother around the edges. Normally this is when I would bring out my electric dual action sander, but I've lent it to someone. It is yet to be returned. Here we go. Well, that was tedious and dusty. It's not the best looking in the world. It won't win any beauty pageants, that's for sure. But this needs to be functional. Yeah, and it's a learning process for me, like most of my videos here, especially diving into something that I've never done before. Well, I did weld once. It was to put the Mustang's exhaust back together. That ain't pretty either, not by a long shot. But this was my first time fabricating anything, and I think once it's the right color, no one will care. So let's clean this bugger and prime it, and then paint it, and then we're done. Hey, you've seen paint videos before, so you probably imagine what's going to happen. But here you go. So considering first time ever fabricating something out of steel start to finish, not bad. I mean, there are rough edges. I figured there would be, but there's, in reality, this is going to be sitting on a shelf, a lower shelf, really, not anywhere in full view of customers. Just a reminder, this is a check presenter. Those little books you get when you're not too cheap to pick up the tab, the thing they present your bill in. Those we just had a stack that would fall over all the time, and I figured I could do this to remedy the situation. And once it's in color and it's been clear coated and it's still off gassing, so we'll give the clear time to cure before I bring it in tomorrow and get paid handsomely in beer, I think. He still owes me some beer, really. And with the clear on, it looks pretty good, actually. It might look, as time goes on, it might not look as nice, but really, this cost almost nothing to make. So, for a custom piece that they're getting in exchange for some beer, I don't think they should complain too much. So, if you want to see more of me making random things, hit that like and subscribe on one side or the other. Should have planned this out. I should start using scripts, maybe. Or just plans in general, not just, hey, I'm going to do this weekend.